Okay, so the other day, someone comes up to me and says, Shank, you got to check this out. Some guy, his name's Kevin, I caught you a delicious bass, posted something along the lines of deadlifts are dangerous. I said, okay, no, you got to see this. People are going crazy. So I go on the Instagram post, and people were going crazy. And I don't mean like Top Gun beach volleyball scene crazy. I mean like Maverick and Iceman in the locker room scene crazy. You remember that? Where he's like, I don't like you, Maverick, because you're dangerous. Tom Cruise goes, that's right, Iceman. I am dangerous. And I'm sitting there going, well, guys, let's calm down. A little context, a little nuance. Who are we talking about relative to the exercise? My friend's like, no, Shank, what you don't get is what you say all the time. There is no exercise you have to do. I've been saying that for years. Ryan McDonald's been saying it longer than me, and Scott Abel's been saying it longer than the both of us put together. So if that's true, if there are no exercises you have to do unless you're a powerlifter or Olympic weightlifter, why are these guys going so wacko about this statement? And I'll tell you why. 3 reasons. Number 1, this is the fitness industry. It's full of wackos. Right? What you need to understand about the fitness industry is people in the fitness industry tend to be a lot more developed on the outside than they are on the inside. Right? So anytime you attack one of their sacred cows, no offense to my Hindu friends, just a phrase. Anytime you attack them, it's not even an attack. Let's just say you ask a question. They can't handle it. Right? You think the current political environment is bad. The fitness industry has been like this since the Reagan administration. Maybe even longer back before then. So you have to understand the people you're dealing with, any topic is going to set them off. The second reason why, that kind of builds on it, if you the further subdivide the fitness industry and you get to like the weightlifter dudes, particularly like the powerlifter types, the squat, the bench, the deadlift, and then they got the cousin Eddie of them, the overhead press. You have to understand one thing about that group of guys in general. They tend not to be able to do anything else. And what I mean by that is when I was in high school, you either played football or soccer, ran cross country, you went in the weight room, right? If you played basketball or you wrestled or you went in the weight room. You played baseball or you went in the weight room. You were injured, you went in the weight room. Why? Because in the weight room, you don't have to go anywhere. You're right there in one spot. And what happens is you have a bunch of guys who couldn't do anything else, or maybe used to be able to do something else and now they can't do it anymore. And they don't realize that while weight training, weightlifting exercise compared to other sports, basketball, baseball, boxing, judo, MMA, while it's a very low skill sport, it's not a no-skill sport. And so what they is like, well, nothing else worked for me, but this works for me. So it should work for everyone else, and everyone else should get all the benefits that I've gotten out of it. And that's just not the case. So they think somehow you can just throw these exercises at someone, and in a couple lessons, they'll be able to pick it up. And that's just not the way it works. And I think the reason why they're able to have that mindset is probably for the third reason, right? So far, you got the fitness industry is already insane. You have this further subdivision of the weightlifters who, weightlifting's a lot like distance running, okay? If you can suffer, you can do it. Right? There's one sport that Danny Zuko could do in Greece, right? It's distance, long distance running. Weight training's a lot like distance running, although it's probably a little bit more useful, although you could argue evolutionary-wise, distance running was way more useful than lifting. I'm getting on a tangent, forget about it. All my non sequiturs. The reason why they're like this is because most weightlifter guys, they live in fantasy land. Right? They're in weightlifter gyms, surrounded by weightlifter people. People who are built for these activities. They're not built for them, they're super motivated to do them, which is the only way you're really going to get good at something you're not built for. And they have these, they're constantly surrounded by people giving them feedback on their technique, constantly doing these exercises. Every rep of every set of every workout. they're coning these techniques, and they still get hurt. Don't get me wrong; they still get injured as they begin to red line closer to their genetic potential. But to a great degree, the risk of these exercises is mitigated. And because they're in their fantasy land of their weightlifting gyms, they have absolutely no idea what the miserable piles of puke that deadlifts and squats look like in a commercial gym. And one of the biggest things they argue for these lifts, they always say, well, they use large amounts of muscle mass through large ranges of motion, using large amounts of weight. That asset all of a sudden becomes a massive liability. But again, they're not there watching this, so they have absolutely no clue what's going on. So to them, it's just like, why isn't everybody doing these lifts? Well, the reason why is for most people, it's not necessary. It's not appropriate for their individual levers. I've said this before, there's no such thing as a shoe store called size 10. Right? That's why there are no exercises you have to do. And not everyone has the temperament or the desire to do these exercises. There's so many other things you can do to achieve your goal, right, that don't involve squatting, benching, and deadlifting and overhead pressing with a barbell. So in conclusion, am I surprised at the reaction that Kevin, I caught you a delicious bass got from this? Absolutely not. Right? I just made some wonderful generalizations myself, both of which, if the weight training guys would be honest and they took this with a little bit of sense of humor, would admit that's true. But look, it's deadlifting. And if done, even when done well, it carries a greater risk. Look, if you do something wrong on a leg extension or a chest press or a lat pull down, yeah, you can get hurt. But the injury is not going to nearly, I knew some guy, look, 99 times out of 100, 999 times out of 1,000, the injury, the catastrophic degree of an injury on a leg extension or a chest press is going to pale in comparison to the type of injury you do when you do a deadlift wrong. When you do a chest press, you might irritate your shoulder. When you do a deadlift, you're going to have long-lasting back pain for the rest of your life, even when you do things right, because you get so strong, the structure can't handle it anymore. And you will break down. And plus, people do stupid stuff. I can't tell how many trained powerlifters have injured ligaments in their back by doing stupid off-top 100-pound plate deadlifts to get an extra range of motion. These are people who know what they're doing. They're trained to do these exercises. They're built for these exercises. And they still do stupid things and get hurt. And again, because of the nature of these exercises, the very thing that make them an asset is what makes the chance of injury that much more catastrophic. All right, that's too dramatic of a word, but you get my point. Look, this is going on too long. The bottom line is to say, Shank, so what's the answer? Are deadlifts dangerous? They're more inherently dangerous than a lot of other exercises. But so can be said of any exercise that uses large amounts of muscle mass through great ranges of motion, right? Lifting very heavy loads. But some people are just simply too blind or too bought into something, or they acknowledge it, but they love it so much, they don't really care. The problem is when they start coming to my people, my clients, the type of people I train, and they start acting like what applies to them applies to everyone else, and it does not. Deadlifts, are they inherently more dangerous than other exercises? The answer is, if you're being honest with yourself, is yes. Does that mean you don't do them? If you love them, do you not train them? No. But understand the risks involved, understand whether they're appropriate for you or not, and then make the right context, nuanced decision from there. That's all. Thank you very much.